Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, whenever you are watching this video. It's Pastor Fazio here at Whitnall Park Lutheran Church. Our Director of Christian Ed, Kathy Fazio, and I wanted to make a little video going over the Acolyte for some of you who weren't able to attend the training on Sunday. We were scheduled to have training tonight. Today is Wednesday, September what? Today is Wednesday, September 8th, and we were supposed to have training tonight, but due to unforeseen circumstances, I'm going to have to leave church immediately following the worship service, so I'm not available tonight. So this is just going to be a quick training video showing the proper ways to Acolyte here at Whitnall Park Lutheran Church. We do have a little page of instruction that will be made available to you. Some of the things to remember before we begin acolyting. First, remember that this is part of a church worship service. So, my kind of motto here is we take what we do very seriously, but we like to have fun while we're doing it. So on the serious part, we want to make sure that we're dressed appropriately and prepared to serve in God's house. So make sure you're dressed up like you would if you're going to a nice family dinner or something. Come to church. You want to get here about 15 minutes early. You want to find me and let me know that you're here and you're ready to go. Then as we get closer to the time of the service, the Acolyte, myself, and our assisting minister will gather together in the sacristy, which is the room just through this door here. We'll gather together. We'll talk about the service, anything in particular that might be happening that day. We'll have a prayer together. And I will get you the lighter that we use to light the candles and extinguish the candles. And I will also make sure that there is a wick in the lighter. So this is something on the Acolyte training sheet. It says that you should do this, but I will make sure this is all prepared and ready for you. So once we have everything we need, we say a nice prayer together and we come out for worship. Now, as the bearer of the flame represents the light of Christ. So the Acolyte is typically the first one through the door bearing the light of Christ. Now, when we come through the door, your candle will be lit. The first thing you do is you come and you reverence the altar. This is the altar. Back behind here, this is called the reduce. You don't need to remember that. We have our image of our risen Christ. So we want to pay our respects to the risen Christ, and then we go to light the candles. Now, if it's a special Sunday, if we have a baptism, or if it's Easter, or Christmas, or some of the other festival Sundays, we'll be lighting the baptismal candle. More on this in a minute, but really the only thing you really need to know about this is that the baptismal candle is the first lit and the last put out. So what we do, you'll have your lighter will be lit, you will have the flame, and say that it is a Sunday that we are having a baptism. So either myself or the assisting minister will take the glass covering off of the candle, you light the wick, and then myself or the assisting minister will put the cover back on. This is after you've reverenced the altar. Then you come up to the candles. Now, the way that I like to light the candles, we look at Jesus and we kind of go off of him. The right hand of God is always considered to be the prominent side. So I like to light the right candle first and go from there. So from our perspective looking, it's our left. So we do the two individual candles first, and then we do the candelabras, and we start from the top and work down. So we light the left individual candle, the right individual candle, then we come to our left side, Jesus' right side, and we start from the top and work our way down. After that, we move to our right side, Jesus' left side, and we light these candles, same thing, top down. Now, one of the things with lighting the candles, as the flame burns, the wick gets shorter. There's a little tab on this candle lighter that once the flame gets shorter and the wick starts to get shorter, all we have to do is we take this little tab and we push it up to get more of the wick to come out. So after we're done lighting the candles then, we simply take the little tab and pull it down and the flame is extinguished. So after that, after we light the candles and extinguish the flame, we come back to the altar, we reverence the altar once again, and then we come back and we place the candle lighter into its little stand right here. Then you can just simply sit down in your chair and the worship continues. Now, there's a couple things happening with still being in our COVID time. Things aren't typically what they usually are. So at this time in the church, basically all the Acolyte is doing is lighting the candles and putting them out. We used to have the Acolytes carry the basket when we would have communion at the rail. We're not going to be doing that for the foreseeable future, so there's really nothing that you do for communion. We would also have the Acolyte get the offering tray after the ushers pass the offering plates through the congregation. Currently, people are placing their offering in the tray and it's sitting on the table, so there's nothing that you have to do there. That might change, and I'll let you know if that does happen. Now, the other thing that the Acolyte can be a part of, which you may be a part of, is if there is a baptism. Now, it doesn't happen too often, but occasionally we do have baptisms at the church. This is our baptismal font. We open it up, and there's a bowl in here. So what the Acolyte does during baptisms, we have a pitcher containing the baptismal water, and when I read through the liturgy of the baptism, there's a certain portion where it talks about Noah and the flood and the gift of water. And at that time, I like to have the Acolyte pour the water into the font itself. I used to pour the water, but let me tell you, it's not that easy trying to read and pour water and making sure it's all going in the right place. So, not only does it help me, it also allows the Acolyte to get more involved in the service. So at that point, you just kind of pour the water slowly, you let it run out, not too fast, not too slow. And as I get to the end of that paragraph, then you just set the pitcher back down here and you take your seat. So that's one thing that you may be doing. We don't have any baptisms scheduled at this point, and some Acolytes go their whole time of service without doing it. So I'll go over all this with you on the day of the service, so don't think you need to memorize that. I think that's about it for the service. Again, we just want to remember to be reverent. You want to make sure you have a bulletin. You want to make sure you have a hymnal. We want to follow along with the service, be aware of what's going on in the service. Obviously, like no chewing gum, no candy, no drinks. You can have a bottle of water, that would be fine. But that's about it. So after our service then, say we get through all the service and now we're singing the closing hymn. As we're singing the closing hymn, that's the time that the Acolyte puts out the candles. So Ralph starts playing the closing hymn. At that point, you get up, you grab again the candle lighter extinguisher, come back to the altar, reverence the altar once again, and the order that you put the candles out is just reversed. So we come back and we start with our right side, Jesus' left side, and we just extinguish the candles. Now the thing is, if you'll remember from your science class, the thing that causes a fire to go out is lack of oxygen. This little bell covers the candle well enough that it takes away the oxygen. So you don't have to put it all the way down on top of the wick. Just kind of put it over the candle and let it hover there for a second, and the flame will go out. So we put out these candles. Then the last one of these that we want to put out is the one on Jesus' right hand. So we come again to Jesus' left side, put this candle out, then to the right side, put this candle out. Now, we come back to the Christ candle. Now this one's a little bit tricky. It's nothing to be afraid of, but it can be a little bit challenging. The trick is you want to get the bell to be completely flat on top of the glass. If there's any gap whatsoever, air is going to continue to get at the flame and it's not going to go out. So we just want to, it's all about the angle. You want to make sure your hands are a little bit further down on the wood so you can tilt the extinguisher. And again, you just want to get the bell right flat on top of the glass. You hold it there until you see the candle go out. Then you wait for about another second or two. Then you pull it off. Come back once again. Reverence the altar. And then you place the lighter extinguisher back in the holder. And then you just sit down and wait for the assisting minister to give the dismissal. And then you can simply go back into the sacristy. Now, one of the things I didn't talk about, currently, for whatever reason, I am not wearing a robe. The assisting minister isn't robing. We're probably going to get back to that at some point. So you will be wearing a robe as well. I think the best thing to do is have your mom and dad, the first time you're acolyting, come with you. We'll come back into the sacristy. We'll look through the different robes we have. We'll find a robe that fits you. You want the sleeve to come almost like a long sleeve shirt that's a little bit short. You want the sleeve to come just above your wrist, and you want the bottom of the robe to come to about the middle of your shin. If it's too long, you're going to step on it. If it's too short, it just doesn't look right. But I'll work with you. We'll find a robe that fits you. We also have a rope. It's called a cincture. And there's a certain way, a very simple way to tie that. And I'll show you that on the day that we're going to robe up as well. I think that about covers it. Just remember, the most important thing to do is relax and enjoy yourself. This is a time of worshiping God. It's a reverent time. It's a time that we're all together. Your congregation loves and supports you. And if you do happen to make a mistake and you light the candles in the wrong order, Jesus is not going to leave the building. It's not a huge deal. We try to follow a certain format, but if it doesn't go that way, then it's fine. We just move on. So just remember to be calm, enjoy yourself, and try to have fun and be relaxed while we're doing it. We have a very interesting opportunity here at the church that you have an opportunity to be in front of a group of people and share yourself in a way that's very safe and comfortable. And one of the other things, my wife, our Christian Ed director, is here, and she reminded me, something that we can do if you'd like, if the Acolyte would like to be more a part of the service, one of the things we're going to try this year is to have the Acolyte read the Psalm. The Psalm is a responsive reading in light print and bold print. The Acolyte or the assisting minister reads the light print, and then the congregation responds with the bold. If that's something you're comfortable doing and would want to do it, you're certainly welcome to get up into the pulpit and read the psalm with the congregation responding. If this isn't something that you're comfortable doing, we're certainly not going to force you. So just consider that. And again, one of the biggest fears that people have in life for children all the way through adults is the fear of public speaking. You have an opportunity here to practice some of these skills in a very safe environment. So again, if that's something you're interested in, we can make it happen. If not, no big deal. The assisting minister will read the psalm. So I think that's it. Hopefully you're excited about acolyting and coming back to church. We're in the process. We just want to get all our people back and move on in a fun, safe, healthy way of worshiping God and accepting his gift of love and life for us. So thank you for the gift of your service to the church. God be with you, and we look forward to seeing you real soon. Bye-bye.